everybody for the quick issue there. We're working through that. We'll go through a couple quick slides. I want to introduce Astrix to everybody, and then I'm going to pass it off to our presenter for today, Sophia. So today's presentation is entitled How to Manage Logbooks Electronically from Paper to Cloud. We can go to the next slide. Okay. Before we jump into a quick, I just want to share with you a little bit of information about Astrix. If you haven't participated in any webinars for over 25 years, brought unique breadth of highly specialized services, processes, and technology, which has allowed us to become one of the top professional services firms in the space, and we help science-based businesses transform the way they do business and hopefully succeed. A couple of quick facts: founded in 1995, we work with a great many different vendors in the space, but we're platform and vendor agnostic. We have locations throughout the U.S. and 1,200 employees, 90% of which have advanced science degrees. We are headquartered in Red Bank, New Jersey, and we have a wide array of customers such as life science, chemical, and CPG, and others. We can go to the next slide, please. Real quick, in terms of the services that we provide to our clients, everything from strategic innovation and roadmaps through enterprise architecture, that's really kind of helping companies understand the type of technology they're going to need to grow, perhaps move away from paper into a digital transformation process. From there, we can assist with things data management, governance, business analysis, really helping people put the right technologies and process and people in place to execute upon their goals. We can help select vendors and different technologies to implement so that they meet the needs that were maybe defined during the architecture phase. From there, we can actually just help with the development, the implementation, the validation of these systems. And then one of the really unique things about Astrix is we can also provide staffing after the fact. We can staff scientists in your lab, or we can staff the technical folks necessary to help run this. So that's a little bit about us. We can go to the next slide, please. I'm going to introduce our speaker now and turn the rest of the presentation over to her, and I'll pop back on at the end when we'll be happy to take some questions from everybody. So Sophia Vraca has worked in various areas of life sciences for the past 15 years. She's an expert in CSV validation management and regulatory operations. A really deep, profound experience formed the foundation for her, helping life sciences organizations transform to digital by applying advanced technology. So I want to go ahead and turn it over to Sophia. Sophia, I'm going to mute off and you take it from here.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you very much, Kevin. Yeah, welcome everybody to the session today, how to manage logbooks electronically from paper to cloud. As Kevin already mentioned, my name is Sophia Vraca. I'm a senior solutions engineer at Genesis, and in today's session, we want to have a look in our post-pandemic world and where actually digital transformation is the new normal. So let's have a look in the digital logbook management and how we can ensure you produce high quality and centralized data that's easy to retrieve and defend during an audit or inspection. The agenda today, we will start with a 5-minute introduction. We will then continue with a demonstration of about 30 minutes, and we will leave 10 minutes to the very end for the question and answer session. Let's have a look first on the challenges in a nutshell. When we think about the accessibility of data, completed logbooks are stored elsewhere, so it's difficult to track it accordingly, and it's also time-consuming when it comes to retrieval. Paper-based log forms, but also digital executed ones within a LIMS solution, for example, are usually not centrally located. With eLogbook, you have that centralization of information. All your logbooks will be stored in one and the same location. Slow processes when it comes to review and approval. Managing logbooks on paper is time-consuming and requires people to have a printer or a scanner available. If you have a digital solution in place, you can run verifications and approvals across the globe, and all at one button of a click, actually. Managing schedules can become a huge challenge too. In our system, you set up the schedule one time and then you can completely forget about it because the application will take care of triggering the tasks and notifying the impacted users accordingly. Data analysis becomes difficult as well. With our reporter model, for example, we have the possibility to filter and extract data out of the system easily. Also, new technologies cannot be leveraged, for example, QR codes or the possibility to execute offline using an app, for example. And of course, not to forget the handwritten data entry, which can be inaccurate and inconsistent as well as illegible. So it doesn't apply every single time to the Alcoa principles. Now, in today's demonstration, we will first of all talk about what is new before we start. So, Genesis eLogbook is a standalone solution. We can integrate with any other application that you have in place. It is a pre-configured solution, so most of the items are pre-configured. It's almost an out-of-the-box approach, which will have only a very few configurations like user-related preferences. And Genesis eLogbook will also provide you with a log form library, which comes along with predefined forms that are actually commonly used in the industry. I think we have 100+ forms that have been created and standardized, and these particular forms will be provided as part of the standard application. So you can right away use the forms as or you can use the forms with minimal modifications as well. And especially the last two key points here, the pre-configuration and the log form library, will reduce the time for putting the application in production. So you can deploy the system, set up your users, and start using the system right away. In terms of flow, we will start with the general overview to give you user interface, and then we will switch right away in order to see how we can execute, verify, and approve a log form 100% digitally. We will also see how we can create a form and how we can leverage business rules. So we'll have a look behind the scenes and how we can do that. We will see how we can generate QR codes in order to save time and minimize errors. So by the time the executor is going to scan that QR code, it will be provided by the right log form execution task. And at the very end, we will see how we can use Genesis mobile app to perform offline executions. Okay, so let me switch to the application right away. I'm going to use here Google Chrome. So the only thing that you need is actually internet access. But as I just mentioned, if you don't have internet access, you can just download the app on the mobile device to execute offline as well. Now let me use here Google Chrome. The system has Mary. Once I log into the system, you'll see the main page of Genesis, where we can see actually that I've logged into the system as Mary, and her site and the preferable time zone has been selected by her as well. To the left part of the screen, we can see the most functions that Genesis eLogbook comes along with. And to the middle part of the screen, we can see actually all the tasks that have been assigned to her. So these are tasks, here the first tab, the tasks tab, tasks that have been assigned to Mary, particularly eLogbook execution tasks. And you can see if I move my mouse over it, it seems to be a hyperlink, which means whenever I click on one of these logbook execution tasks, the system into the system in order to find out there is something waiting for you, because you will also receive each and every time there is a task assigned to you an email notification including the same link. We also have a dashboard, you know, from other applications as well, so that particular view will allow you to navigate quickly to other information based on the dashboard that you have designed. So you can see we have the possibility to navigate right away to any kind of report that we have created using our report module over here. And then we have a document, which is the most important thing that we have in the system. The way it's organized is based on the site that has been created, and then underneath those sites you have the possibility to mirror the different topics here in the system accordingly. Now this is the place to be if you want to know what kind of equipment that you've created, what kind of instrument, what kind of, let's say, category and entity where you've created different kind of log forms. I can give you a couple of examples. I mean, what we could do, for example, is we can create a category for our batch manufacturing records, and then underneath those, underneath that category, we can distinguish between the different products, which is the category, and underneath we can distinguish between the different batches. So by the time I'm going to produce that particular batch, I can use a specific form that I created in the system, which comes along with these predefined sections according to the BMR requirements, which can be executed whenever I'm going to go through the production process. Another example is for when we talk about lift services, for example. So, I mean, the Genesis e-logbook solution is not only related to pharmaceutical industry or right? You can use actually our e-logbook in any kind of sector out there, an area, wherever you have to capture values, you can use e-logbook solution here. For example, as I was about to say, you can also have lift services, for example, in order to track how it's maintained, when exactly it has been repaired, and all these different things can be captured in a particular log form associated to the respective entities. By time it can be triggered accordingly. Or you could also have restricted areas, for example. You could have your codes or any other kind of restricted areas where you want to track who is allowed to enter that particular area. Or who has been, so all these can be preferably defined in the log forms. I continue with my QC lab, for example. That particular QC lab, obviously have a couple of different subcategories, such as balances, represent your particular project here in India. And that can be any specific lift, for example. So just imagine your particular entity that you want to set up in the system and go through a log. Whenever that entity is selected, you will find here all the entity details, starting with the metadata. You can also provide the location of that particular entity, name, who is the system owner, what is the name, all these different things. And but something else you can see is also the type of form that has been created for that particular entity. So I can see right away that the type of the log form that I created was not calibration. But you have to create your log form types that can be represented in the system. And you can see here below actually all the log forms that have been executed so far based on the calibration. And right now it's only one form that I've executed. And I can see that it is about an HPLC calibration. The last activity was to approve that capture, when it started, when it has been completed, when it has been prepared, who verified it, and when it has been verified. So all these information will be listed here in one view. And whenever I click here on the eyeball icon, the system will open up the outcome, the so-called logbook that you can just send to the printer and print it on paper if you would like to continue on paper. So that is something that you can design preferably. This is something that I have designed preferably, and it was, as I said, an form, and all those are shown here accordingly. There is also a second page where I can also see who performed it and who verified it, based on the form that I've designed. Okay, let's go and see how it will look like whenever we want to capture a form. For that purpose, I'm going to continue here with eLogbook, capture log, and I'm going to initiate that manually. If you have a scanner in place or a QR code and a scanner in place, you can simply place your mouse over here, scan the QR code, and you will be provided by the right form automatically. If there is no QR code, you can simply manually initiate that particular entity that you want to execute. And I'm going to search to use my search capabilities. I type in HPLC, and I can see now here my entity that I want to select. And once I select the entity, I can see the right form is associated here automatically. So there is no way to do something wrong or, select the wrong logbook by mistake. Now, whenever I click on action, the system directs to the logbook execution screen, and I can see here that there is an accept button before I can continue and capture my values. The reason we have the accept button over there is because we have the possibility to assign business rules to a particular e-log book that you've created, and I've associated there a group that is allowed to execute that form. Only that group is allowed to use that form and execute, nobody else. Since it is actually a group, there will be an accept button. So once I click on accept, nobody from that group can take that particular form and also execute until I release it again. For capture, you will see this is a form that I created based on an calibration. We can see here that I've included a logo. So it's a picture actually within my form. I can see here the header part in general will provide me a couple of information. And then if I scroll down here, I can see the different rows that I need to execute. The right part will be the mandatory ones, but that can be designed here in log form creation. So that first row, which requires the instrument ID, seems to be a free text field. So I can simply type in whatever I want to provide as the executor. The next item is also something where I have the possibility to provide a free text. So I'm going to continue with a random number. The next three nodes are actually just descriptions for the executor. And then I can further continue and see here, for example, the equipment is noise and parameter. I provided here a different design. This time it's not a free text field, but it is about radio buttons. So I provided yes and no. Same goes for here, but aligned horizontally. The next one shows also a different style and a different design. So it's about a checkbox over here where I have to select the right mobile phase that I've used. Let's say I've used mobile phase A. You can also see your log forms can include a picture as well to describe how to continue, for example. And if we have a look on forms 2.2, this time I've used here a drop-down menu where I've provided again 2 different options, yes or no. But I mean, you have the possibility to flexibly design your form accordingly. So I'm going to say here yes, and I can also see there is an I indicating that I have to add an attachment. Of course, we have to include here an file. With a file, I have the possibility to add an attachment from an external location, for example. If I continue with image, I have the possibility to either take a screenshot or to use my webcam in order to take a picture or a video. Now, I'm holding something in front of my camera right now. This is something that we might capture. So I'm clicking here on the camera and the system will capture the picture accordingly. If I click now on the eye, I can see that the attachment has been, or the picture has been taken, including a watermark indicating when exactly that happened. We also have things such as a starting button or an end button. So whenever you click here on start, for example, the system will capture the time accordingly, including the and whenever we enter something, for example, something, we can click here on calibration and the system will take the time as well. Now, to the very end, we can see here the performed by and the verified by. So this is something that will be captured by the time of saving my values. And the verified by will be captured by the time of verification. So see what will happen whenever I click here on save. So the performed by has been captured accordingly. I can see here the username, the user ID, including the timestamp and the time zone. But as I said, the verified by will be captured by the time of verification. So let's go for it. Let's go back and route it for verification. There's not a must actually to route for verification. I'm going only to show you of what is possible in the system. And once I'm going to submit, that particular log form will be routed for verification. And I know that Eric is a verifier, so let me log the system and log back in as one of the verifiers in order to show you how the verification step looks like. And we'll see once I'm as Eric that there is a task waiting indicating that the log verification must be done from his side. The only thing he needs to do is to click on the link and he will be guided automatically to the right screen. Now he has the possibility to get into the form and just be captured by the exit. You can see everything is there. You can go to the form and confirm that everything has been captured correctly. There's also the eye. Of course, the verifier has the possibility to have a look on the attachments and the screenshots that have been taken as well. And once he agrees, he can go back, confirm that it has been verified, and submit. Now it's going to be routed for approval. Why? Because this is the way I have set the business rules for that particular form. Now I'm going to click here, okay, we're going to switch our minds one more time to play the role of the approver. And I know that Quinn is one of these guys. And once you log in as Quinn, we'll also see that Quinn is awaiting here a new task indicating that the log approval has been assigned to him. So the only thing we need to do one more time, click on the link system on the right screen. We can one more time have a look at all the values. Of course, the approver also has access to the attachments and everything else. And this you also see the verify will present it here during approval as well. Once you confirm and you continue with approving, when you click on yes, the system will prompt the electronic signature window. The reason behind it is that there is a requirement coming from the FDA, the 21 CFR Part 11 requirement, as well as the EU Annex 11 requirement. Whenever you have an electronic approval, you should provide your electronic signature and also the reason for the eSig. Now, the reasons in the system can be defined by you as well. And now my user ID and my password, which will actually act as the electronic signature. And now that particular form is considered as approved and will become part of the inventory. Let me now log back in as my main user here. And then we will see how we can create a form. So let's have a look now quickly after we saw the process of what is possible. Let's see how we can create a form in the back. For that purpose, I'm going to continue with system, create form. And once we click here on create, we can select what type of form we would like to create. So it is about a log form. But sorry, let me go back for a second. If you don't want to create the log form by yourself, as I said, remember we have predefined forms here in the system. These predefined forms, as I said at the very beginning, are commonly used in the industry, so you can simply pick any of those, make the necessary minor changes that you need to do, and start using it right away. If you don't want to use any of the predefined forms, you can continue and create your own one, as I said. Now it's about a log form, and then you also have the possibility to define your own types of log forms. Now you can see the types that I have defined: usage, calibration, maintenance, line clearance, check, and so on. But you can simply define your own types preferably. So let's assume it's about a calibration. Here we have the possibility also to define a dedicated space for header, footer, both, or maybe nothing is required. And once we click here on design, we will get to the form creation screen. Now the upper portion of the screen over here, this is the toolbar that will allow us to frame actually our form. And all the controls here to the left are controls that we can use in order to create our content of the form that we want to create. So usually with the grid that can act as a column but also as a row. And then I can use here the toolbar above and maybe include a column to the right and a row below. So just by using here these two icons. Now I'm having here two columns and two rows. Just imagine that the first column we want to include a header. So we will simply drag and drop here the header, and click here we have the possibility to provide a label. For example, we can say here test step. And the next one could be result. I will keep it simple just to give you an impression of how that will work. Then we can continue with another header and maybe provide a description to the tester. And here we also have another possibility to provide different possibilities of how to provide a feedback. As I said, we also have things such as a text box. The text box will allow the executor to, provide his feedback manually, just type it in. But we also have other things, as you already saw during the execution, such as a drop-down menu. We could go for that one, or we could go for radio buttons. Once we click here on the wheel, we can provide the dedicated label, and then we can provide here the different options, for example, pass and fail. Sorry. We can also align it preferably either vertically or horizontally. You can also define if that field must be executed mandatory or not, if you need an evidence or not. I'm going to say no both, and then this is how it will look like. But we also have things such as image, where you have the possibility to simply upload an image, for example, date and time. There are a lot of things that you can use here in order to design your form preferably. Okay. Now, just assume that we've created here that form, and we want to continue and see how we can define business rules to it. For that purpose, I'm going to continue with eLogbook, create business rules, and instead of creating maybe a new business rule, let me just revise an existing one and take one that I've already created. So I'm going to select maybe that business rule for HPLC. Now, once I select that, I can see that I have to include the form which I would like to create my business rules. You also have the possibility to select several forms and define these forms in one business rule as well. If I also see here the group that is allowed to execute that particular form later on. So you have the possibility to create here different groups, which will mirror your groups, of course. You can call them as you prefer. Once you select them, this is going to be the group that is allowed to execute. Here below, I've set the verifiers to play the role of the verifiers. And if I further scroll down, I can see that I'm getting more possibilities of defining the business rule. So I have the possibility, for example, to set the verification if it's required or not. If you don't require any verification, simply click on no. If you click on yes, you also have the possibility to define, say, when exactly that you want to have the verification step to happen. Is it after data capture? Is it during data capture? All these different things can be defined. Even when based on what? So you can define if you want to have verification based on records only, days only, or a combination of both, for example. So you can say after 10 records or after each and every 7 days, for example, that is possible. You have the same possibilities for the approval part. Here, one more time, you have the same selection possibilities available for you to continue. You can also click on no if you don't want to have any approval. We also have things such as the priority, so you can define particular log forms with a dedicated priority, for example, high, low, or medium. You will see that then the executor actually see that that this is about a high log form to be executed, low or medium. We can also define, for example, expiry dates. So if you click here on yes, we can say, I want to have a log form expire after 2 days has been submitted, for example, or after 2 days of verification. So these kind of things can be defined here as well. So you don't want to have, log forms which are not verified and standing and waiting there forever and ever. if you want to define expiry period, that is available for you as well. And of course, we also have the possibility to define our own schedules, so we don't have to take care of anything anymore. So you can have your own schedules, for example, daily, monthly, weekly. This is something that I have created. You can do so as well. So if I'm continuing, for example, here with monthly, the system will automatically trigger on a monthly basis that particular log form to be executed. You don't have to do that by yourself. Everything is managed by the system automatically. Now, if you think about in a paper-based process, it can be difficult to ensure forms are routed to the right person in the correct sequence at the right time point. With eLogbook, we can simply eliminate these problems. It helps maintaining data integrity, saves time, and ensures compliance in each manner. Okay, so this is how you can use Genesis in order to execute a form, verify it, approve it, and then if you have a look behind the scenes, how you can create a form, how you can define business rules. Now let's continue and see also how we can create a QR code. For that purpose, I'm going to continue with eLogbook, create QR code. And now I need to select the entity for which I would like to create a QR code. And maybe we can take here the first one, which shows me here the spectral 01. This is an entity that I've created for my QC lab. Let's assume that we want to generate a QR code. For that one, I want to have a QR code that will present the entity and the log form. And whenever I click here on generate, I can see whenever I click on preview, the QR code will be presented. This is actually something that I have designed. You have the possibility to design that piece of paper. And now what the system is doing in the back is to generate the QR here automatically. And once it's loaded, we'll see how that will look like. And here we go. We can see, as I said, the way that I've designed was to simply provide here a header indicating that this is the spectrophotometer. Please scan the QR code to retrieve the log form for execution. Here below, we can see the QR code that can be then scanned for execution. You can simply print that out, stick it to the equipment, and the executor can scan it just by using, for example, his mobile phone or the tablet. Now let's also have a look and see how we can use the Genesis app in order to execute in an offline mode. For that, I'm going to navigate here to my desktop, and you can see that I'm here the mobile device, the app. It can be actually installed on, the usual platforms, Android, iOS, and I think that's it. And once I click here on the application, the system will open the app here accordingly. And now I have to log in to the app. Now keep in mind, this is an app that will look a little different, of course. On your tablet, it will look like an app. So I'm going to log in here into the system. And once I log into the system, I can see here all the tasks that have been triggered and all the tasks that I'm allowed actually to execute using the app. Now, let's assume that you want to execute something in an area where you don't have internet connection. What you would do is to, whenever you still have internet connection, you will get to the application, initiate a lock here within the application. Let's assume we want to initiate here one more time the HPLC. So now it's initiated. If I navigate here to my home screen, I can see also the task is indicated here accordingly, so I can navigate to that task from here as well. Now it's initiated, but I don't want to execute it here. I want to execute it using my mobile device in an offline mode. So I can go back to my app, and once it's refresh the app, refresh, you can see here the initiation will appear in the list accordingly. See, this is the HPLC calibration that we just triggered using the application. Now we are in an offline mode. Sorry, we are not in an offline mode. First of all, before you go out to the area of no internet connection, you would have to download the form as a first step. So you click here on the download button. Once it's downloaded, then you have the possibility actually to go to an area without internet connection and run the execution using the app in an offline mode. Now the download is completed. I can now take my mobile device, go offline, and then simply take that activity, click into that particular log capture, and once I click here on capture, I can see the same form that we saw earlier in the application. Now this is how it will look like in using the offline app. We can see here one more time, this is the header and all the information associated, the instrument ID, the item number, and I can simply start executing here accordingly. And all values, maybe it's What I can do now is I can go back. And whenever I get to an area of a section, I can